Okay, Hare Krishna. Today is actually the 540th year of anniversary of Lord Chaitanya's appearance in this Kali Yuga. 540 years. Very auspicious time. And as I was saying the other day, Lord Chaitanya only appears once in one day of Lord Brahma. So it's like 4,320,000,000, no, twice that, because we count the night. 8,640,000,000 years in between. So it's only 540 years since he was here. It was a very short time. We used to, sometimes on certain days we were singing these songs, got away from it, but they will try again. This is a song that about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Shri Shri Gaura-Nityananda Daya, the mercy of Shri Gaura and Nityananda. Paramakaruna Pahudvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra. Sabhi Avatar Sarashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Surida Vishvasa Kori Chaitanya Nitai Surida Vishvasa Kori Rishaya Chariya Seva Seva Jiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. Deka ore vai Shri Bhuvane Nai Hey Mona Dhoyala Gata Ashupake Chore Pashana Vidare Shuni Chandra Gunagata. Sansare Majia Rohini Bhoriya Separe Nahilo Asha. Apana Karama Punjaye Samana Kahoye Lochana Dasa. Translation. Lord Nitai and Lord Gaura-Chandra are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduced a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. My dear brothers, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. Become absorbed in worshipping Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and simply chant Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, without any material motive. My dear brothers, just try to examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. But I, Lochan Das, regret that I am entrapped by sense gratification. I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and therefore Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement. Very nice song about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So, let's see. So I wanted just to continue where we left off in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh, I forgot which verse it was. 6th verse? 60. 60 was yesterday. It was chapter 7, right? Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. What was I saying? Verse 60. Okay, that's what we read. It's something about Lord Chaitanya, so we'll read it. And the purport. Okay, well, I'll go back to 61. I think it was somewhere else. So this is a nice pastime of Lord Chaitanya when he was with the Mayavad sannyasis. So we can chant the verse. Prabhave akarsh shiva sabe sannyasi ramana Muttiva sannyasi saba chadiya asana. Okay, let's just try again. One line at a time. Prabhave akarshiva saba sannyasi ramana. Uttila sannyasi sabe chatiya asana. Prabhave akashiva saba sannyasi ramana. Utila sannyasi sava chadiya asana. Bhave akachila save sannyasa nirmana. Utila sannyasi save chadiya asana. Bhave akachila nirmana. Utila sannyasi sava chadiya asana. Bhave akashila sava sannyasi ramana. Utila sannyasi sava chadiya asana. Bhave akashila sava sannyasi ramana. Utila sannyasi sava chadiya asana. Okay, so word for word. Prabhave, by such illumination, Akarshila, he attracted Sabha, all, Sannyasira, the Mayavadi sannyasis, Mana, mind, Utila, stood up, Sannyasi, all the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sabha, all, Chadiya, giving up, Asana, sitting places. Translation. When the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted, and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. When the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted, and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. Srila Prabhupada's purport. I'm not sure we explained in this purport, because we're right in the middle of the history. But this is when Lord Chaitanya, as a sannyasi, went presenting himself as a Mayavad sannyasi. He went to the assembly of Prakasananda Saraswati and his followers, and because Lord Chaitanya is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he didn't go there and fight with them. He simply went in there and showed his own power. His own power was that he sat down. Lord Chaitanya actually sat down in the area of the room where people would wash their feet, which means it's a dirty place. And he was presenting himself as being very humble. I don't deserve to sit up there with all of you. I'm sitting here in the area where you wash your feet. But he this is before this verse is described that he manifested his own bodily effulgence, and it was so bright that it lit up the room, and the sannyasis were very amazed, and they were very amazed because my body for sannyasis, my bodies are thinking that the perfection of our life is that we become Narayan. Or not that they become, but that they realize their actual position, like that. So when they saw that Lord Chaitanya sat down, and he manifested the effulgence of his body became so bright that it lit up the room, and then all the sannyasis thought, oh, we were striving for this. He's achieved this perfection. He has actually become Narayan. So that's what's happening up to this point. So now, purport. To draw the attention of common men, sometimes saintly persons, acharyas, and teachers exhibit extraordinary opulences. This is necessary to attract the attention of fools. But a saintly person should not misuse such power for personal sense gratification, like false saints who declare themselves to be God. Even a magician can exhibit extraordinary feats that are not understandable to common men, but this does not mean that the magician is God. It is a most sinful activity to attract the attention by exhibiting mystic powers, and then to utilize the opportunity to declare oneself to be God. A real saintly person never declares himself to be God, but always places himself in the position of a servant of God. For a servant to God, there is no need to exhibit mystic powers, and he does not. For a servant of God, there is no need to exhibit mystic powers, and he does not like to do so, but on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a humble servant of God performs his activities in such a way that no common man can dare to act like him. Yet, a saintly person never takes credit for such actions, because he knows very well that when wonderful things are done on his behalf, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, all credit goes to the master and not to the servant. So of course, Lord Chaitanya, it was explaining, Lord Chaitanya, in many ways, during his earthly pastimes, he performed wonderful activities that attracted the minds of everyone. Lord Chaitanya, those who personally saw him doing certain activities, and those who heard about it later on. Just like it was like Lord Chaitanya, he would, of course, with human beings, he would induce everyone to chant, which also we can also to some degree get people to chant Hare Krishna. But Lord Chaitanya did more. When Lord Chaitanya was passing through the Jarikanda forest of wild animals, he was passing through there, and he was chanting Hare Krishna. But all the wild animals who normally would be antagonistic towards someone if they're passing through there, they did not bother him. Instead, they heard him chanting, and then they immediately felt transcendental love of God, even as animals. So much so that dancing and chanting in their own way. So usually in a forest or a jungle, you have the lions and tigers and big animals like that, and the other animals are very much afraid of those kind of animals. They're stronger and can run faster like that. But when Lord Chaitanya passed through the Jharikanda forest and he's chanting Hare Krishna in his pure ecstasy, then what happened? The lions and tigers and deer and all the different animals around him, they immediately started chanting and dancing in their own way. I don't know what a tiger's chanting sounds like. Let's describe that they're all chanting and up on their hind legs and dancing, and there's no animosity between the tigers and the deer and those who would normally be enemies of the other. They didn't have any problem with that because they were actually experiencing, by Lord Chaitanya's blessings, they're experiencing the effect of love of God. So this is Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, he also I think I mentioned yesterday, he gave many instructions regarding Krishna consciousness. He gave many instructions to different devotees, but he only wrote down those 8 verses, the Shikshashtaka verses. He only wrote that's all he wrote. But he also gave he would give instructions to different devotees, and then they would present those instructions. Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, he had meetings for days at a time, giving them all kinds of instructions and knowledge, and but then he empowered them to take this and expand upon it and present it for the benefit of the people of the world. So he spoke to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami like that, who both wrote many books. So we say that Lord Chaitanya only wrote 8 verses, but he obviously gave a whole lot of instructions to his different devotees. So anyway, Srila was mentioning here about sometimes a saintly person, sometimes an especially empowered saintly person, can do extraordinary things to attract the attention towards God of different people. And we see this. We see just like Jesus Christ. He was known to, raise one person from being dead. He cured different diseases of different personalities, and so on. He performed. He's well known to have performed many miracles, and of course that was a very big part of his preaching mission, because people became very attracted to him because of that. But as Srila Prabhupada says here, a saintly person, a person who has certain abilities, they should use those abilities somehow in the service of the Lord. They should not use those abilities to see how they can increase their sense gratification. And the same thing, of course, applies to us if we're practicing Krishna consciousness. So sometimes someone may become a very very expert in some particular kind of service. Someone may go out and sell, you know, thousands of big books for Srila Prabhupada's books on Sankirtan, and that's very good because they've been empowered by spiritual master to be able to do this. But if someone is doing like that and then they become proud, proud of that I just see how I'm a big preacher now, and they're selling so many Srila Prabhupada's books, better than anyone else, whatever. You start thinking like that, then it all gets taken away. Krishna will take it away from us. So Srila Prabhupada was explaining here how someone has an extraordinary ability, but he should not use that ability for cheating the people. Srila Prabhupada describes in the Nectar of Devotion, beginning of the Nectar of Devotion, he gives a little summary of the eight mystic cities, the things you can do if you follow that path. And he says that one particular mystic city is that you can basically control the minds of people. Srila Prabhupada says sometimes someone will get those abilities, but then they'll control the minds of people and cheat them and exploit them in some way. Like that. So and in previous times, of course, you could follow this path of you could follow this. You could perfect this path of mystic yoga, but that path of mystic yoga, where you would ultimately get these so many mystic cities, it was actually a distraction. It's actually a distraction because you would practice yoga to control your mind, control your senses towards the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious and going back home, back to Godhead. That's the goal. But along the path, you also get the opportunity to develop some mystic abilities, mystic powers. And if someone gets diverted on the path because of that, then it becomes very dangerous for spiritual life. And that's why even in Satya Yuga, when people were able to get go on that path and even develop mystic cities and everything, it said that the Bhagavad Gita verse, Krishna says, out of many thousands among men, hardly one endeavors for perfection, and of those who endeavor for perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Right? So this applies anytime. Bhagavad Gita is not just for Kali Yuga. Bhagavad Gita is for all times. So someone, even in Satya Yuga, someone may have been practicing, their yoga practice, but few became fully Krishna conscious in that lifetime. It's not that everyone became a perfect pure devotee of the Lord, because if you're on the path and then you get diverted and just decide, oh, I'm getting all these mystic powers now, I can really enjoy now. I can really enjoy. So in any age, the same principle is there. Out of many thousands among men, hardly one even endeavors for perfection. And of those who endeavor for perfection, hardly one ultimately understands Krishna as who he is, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is so but Lord Chaitanya gave us a process which is practical for this age. We don't practice mystic yoga. It's not. We can't. It's not practical for this age. Lord Chaitanya gave us a process which Narottama Das Thakur says this process is simply joyful. It's simply joyful. And it's simply joyful because it's the whole process is devotional service. And in the Ashtanga yoga system, you had to go through 8 levels of controlling your senses and meditating, and stronger meditation, and all these things, so that ultimately you can engage in the path of bhakti yoga, devotional service. But and then once you achieve that, then all these other material things that we have we did to get to that point, you're supposed to give all that up and then engage in devotional service. But in Kali Yuga, our lifespan is very short. Lifespan is very short in Kali Yuga. Our minds are completely bewildered. Our minds are completely bewildered. Everything's very difficult in Kali Yuga. So Lord Chaitanya gave the process, that we are following, which is called, we have the process of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means that from the beginning of devotional service, we immediately are engaged in devotional service. We're not engaged in 100% pure devotional service, but we're engaged in devotional service. We're engaged in the. Huh?
We actually engaged in pure devotional service. We might not be pure, but the service is.
Yes, because if we're following the instructions of the spiritual master, then our activities are pure, which means we're engaging in serving the deities, we're serving.
The motivation might be pure, the activity itself is pure.
Yeah, that's right, and yes, so the motivation will gradually become purified. So, because in the path of pure devotional service, Anyavilasi Tashunyam Jnana Paramarjanavitam Anako Krishna Bhaktir Uttama. The path of pure devotional service, of course, the activities have to be proper. That's one of the requirements, and for it to be completely pure, then there's 2 other requirements. One requirement is that we are not, when we're engaging in devotional service, we're not aspiring for becoming. We're not aspiring to become, go to the heavenly planets, or maybe my next lifetime, if I chant Hare Krishna, maybe I'll become a really rich person, or like that. My next lifetime, that's karma. We don't aspire for these things. We shouldn't aspire for these things anyway. And we are also engaged. We also should not be developing the aspiration to philosophically thinking that, hey, this chanting Hare Krishna is nice. I hope my perfection of my chanting, maybe I'll merge in the Brahma Jyoti or something. We don't do these things. So Lord Chaitanya gave the path to chant Hare Krishna, avoid the sinful activities, and go on with our spiritual lives. And in the end, uh, even when we achieve the highest perfection, we don't give up those devotional activities. It's not that we chant Hare Krishna to become pure, and then when we become pure, we say, "It's chanting. I don't need that anymore. Have a view." No. It's the same thing that we're doing to purify ourselves. We continue to do. We continue the chanting. Of course, we continue to avoid the sinful activities. We continue the devotional service, and that's the Lord Chaitanya gave, and that's actually very significant because in Kali Yuga it's very difficult already to control the mind. It's not like Satya Yuga; you could be there sitting down for tens of thousands of years and meditating on you know trying to control your senses until you came to the point of bhakti yoga. You try to do that in Satya Yuga, but in Kali Yuga, it would simply not be possible. So because we are following the path of sadhana bhakti and bhakti devotional activities are devotional activities are pleasing. They're very pleasing. The devotional activities are very pleasing, and therefore we get a higher taste. So we may not have a higher taste for sitting down in the middle of, like in Satya Yuga, the yoga system, sitting down all summer in the ring of fire around us under the hot sun and meditating on the super soul. It would probably not be very. No one today could even tolerate something like that. So we follow the pure devotional path, and the activities themselves. As we're singing that song, actually, this path is simply joyful. So the path of purification is actually very pleasing. It's actually joyful. And because we are experiencing some higher taste, then we have gives us the ability to keep going on. We don't have that determination that I perform heavy austerities for thousands of years. We could live for thousands of years. We don't have that determination, that ability to perform these activities for thousands of years. It's just not possible, even if we live that long. And so by Lord Chaitanya's blessings, when he gave us this path where the actual activities that are purifying us are directly devotional service, and of course that devotional service will become even more. It'll become nicer and sweeter and sweeter. Anyway, this is a couple points of this verse and this purport. Any questions, comments? Those are still here. No? Okay, so we'll end here for today. I've got a lot of activities preparing for that festival this afternoon. And Hare Krishna.